Alright guys, what you're going to need for this oil change, you're going to need a 3/8 driver, 12mm for your oil bolt, 8mm for your oil filter housing, and a 3/8 extension. Then you're going to need a Allen head. Can't remember, I'm not sure of the measurement. Phillips screwdriver, and then of course you'll have your oil filter and your oil, and then a funnel and a oil pan. Man, using the Pro Honda GN4. Now this bike's only got but about 1,500 miles on it, and I'm going to be using just the 10W30 SJ. You're going to need a Phillips screwdriver. There is a screw right here that goes onto the plastics. It's going to have to come off on the back side right here of the plastics. There is one of these little push buttons. I just used the Phillips head to sit there, push in on it, popped right off. Be careful not to jerk or pull out because it's got these little clip-ins here. I just pulled it down and slid them out. It's fairly simple. Really simple. It's just 3 little clips there on the end, and it comes right off. Alright, and then once you get that off, that's going to expose your oil filter housing. And one more thing on the plastics, the Allen head bolts that go in are different sizes. This long one here goes down here on the bottom, right here. And then this one right here, which is the shorter one, goes right back here, right back there. And then this guy right here is the Phillips screw that's underneath here for the plastics. And then you only have one back here on the back, which is also a short one. I just keep those separated there. And then this right here is the little clip, the little pop clip for the back end here. Now we're going to go ahead and drain the oil and let that be draining before I take the oil filter off. Alright guys, I'm going to take the oil bolt off, have your oil pan and your rag ready. It's very simple to come off. I do believe this is the first oil change this bike has had, and the reason I'm doing it at 1,500 miles is Honda recommends you change it between 1,000 and 1,500 miles for your first oil change. The oil don't look too bad. Probably could have got another 1,000 miles out of it, but I want to do what's recommended for the first oil change. Now normally I would go probably, now me personally, I'd go 3,000 to 5,000 miles between oil changes, depending on how hard you ride. So I'll probably be regularly changing mine about 3,000 to 4,000 miles, and that'll probably end up being about every other year for me, because that's about what I put in, about every other year, depending on how much riding you do. All right, we're gonna finish this drain, get this drained, and then we're gonna take the oil filter out. Now when you're draining the oil, what you're going to want to do, I'm using my other stand over there for the dirt bike. It's another project for another day. And what you're going to do is you're going to lean the bike as straight as you can and get all that oil out as much as you can. It holds about 1.8 liters of oil. All right, for the oil filter housing, that's going to be an 8mm, and that's also, I'm going to use the 3/8 drive for that. All right, take the 8mm socket, loosen one on one side. You kind of go around it. You'll loosen and tighten it the same way. You just go around like that. And after about one turn, that's about all it takes. Now make sure you pull your oil pan back, because I'm sure there's going to be some oil come out of it as well. And just go around it as so. Now I will loosen, wind's blowing. I will loosen and take out the two bottom ones, kind of let it drain a little bit before taking the whole housing off. Every time to clean the bolts up, get them cleaned up. I'll kind of loosen the top two up, so that way I can pull back on it a little bit to know that I can go ahead and take them all the way off. Now that you got that taken off, take a clean rag and just kind of clean it up real nice. And make sure your rag is clean, because you don't want no dirt or anything. To be left. And once you get the inside cleaned up, you can kind of go around the bottom, because it's bike leaning. Like I said, I ain't got my stand over here, so it makes it a little bit messier. You just clean up where the oil's kind of run down the bike a little bit. There she is, guys. Now, I'm taking the oil filter off. Got a gasket here that will fit over here. Just make sure you get it lined up right. It's got that little notch right here, of course goes up top there. Your oil filter comes off like this, and make sure you got a hand on it when you take that last bolt out. And remember how this goes, because you see that spring down in there. Try not to lose it in your oil pan, or you'll be going fishing. Now you just remember how it comes off. Now being this is my first time changing the oil in this bike, I'm having to be very careful and remembering how See that side right there, the oil filter does not have the little rubber seal. And what I'll do is I'll take a bad oil filter, not too terrible, but it was getting there, and I'll usually just set that in my oil pan there. And then I'm gonna take the spring and I'll clean that up in just a minute, and I'm gonna set it aside, and what I'm gonna do is just drain that out like so. And then I'm gonna clean the housing, the spring, and the gasket seal. I'm gonna clean it up, get all the oil off of it and everything, and then we're gonna put this back together. Alright guys, now we're gonna put the new oil filter, pretty and clean, back in. What we're gonna do is we're gonna set the spring. If you can see, there's a groove here for the spring. Set the spring down in there like so. That right there. And remember, rubber seal goes towards you. Set it down in there like that. I'm gonna put this little aluminum like, whatever this is made out of, on here like so. Line it up best way possible. Make sure the oil filter stays on that spring and stays centered. And then I'm going to put a bolt through it and try to slip that on there. Try to do it one time. Oh yeah, I can feel that spring against the oil filter. I'm going to put a little bit of pressure on there. Just be real careful putting these on, and you don't want to tighten it down, because like I said before, you want to kind of go around it like you would lug nuts. Kind of go in an X formation until they all get snugged down. So I'm just gonna just gonna kind of hand tighten it there, just kind of keep it in place. X formation. And you don't want to get them too tight. Just gonna go a couple of rounds. God knows you don't want to strip them. And you just go and number. Alright. And that, my friends, is the oil filter. Hourglass here. Hourglass. I don't know why I keep calling it the hourglass. It's hourglass. Alright. There you go. Now the next step is putting your oil bolt back on right here, and that will be again your 12
millimeter.
Take your 12mm socket. And snug it down. Good and tight. Alright, go ahead and take your oil cap off. Alright, when you go to put your funnel in, before you put it in, make sure the inside of your funnel is all nice and clean. There ain't no dust, dirt, chickens or anything in there. And go ahead and get your oil and start filling. Alright guys, I'm filling it up right now. But one thing you want to do is pour a little bit and then take your hand, pull back on the bike, get it level, straight, and keep an eye on that bubble. And like I said before, you got your 4 notches here on the side, and you want that oil to be about halfway up the eyeglass there to know when it's full. So just pour a little bit, pick up the bike, set it straight, give it a second to fill that eyeglass up there, and see where you're at. All right guys, I kind of went and did another go through. Don't mind the cap. Kind of went and did a go through, make sure everything was tightened down, make sure the oil bolt is tightened down, make sure the oil filter housing is tightened down snug. And now we're going to start her up. Make sure she's in neutral. And always check for leaks. Run your hand under here, make sure you don't feel nothing. Everything looks good. For about 5 minutes or so, you really want that oil filter to really soak in the oil and get everything running through. Just listen for knocks or anything like that. If you hear anything like that, shut it off. So let it sit there and run for about 5 minutes or so. Take you a break. And then come back about 5 minutes or so and check your eyeglass and go from there. All right guys, I think that's it. See how the eyeglass didn't have anything in it. Now I pull back on it, that eyeglass starts to fill up. I'm just a hair over full, not too bad. Then I'm going to take my cap, kind of clean it off a little bit, and put it back on. All right. Don't forget your little Phillips screwdriver and get that screw up underneath right there, and then take your Allen wrench, go around, not too tight, it's just plastic, snug it down, snug down those 3, get that in there, twist it around so you have a little bit of leverage, put a little pumpkin on it, and that's it. Everything's on there. Alright, now the only thing that's left is the little button right there. That little button. You get this piece here, you press it in till you hear it snap.